What's up, everybody? Welcome to After the Flag F1. My name is Ayrton, and I am the main person here on the channel to bring you everything F1. So just a little bit about me. I'm obviously named after Senna, and I'm a huge Formula One fan. When it comes to biases, I am a Red Bull fan. Max Verstappen is my favorite driver, but I do my best to be as unbiased as I possibly can. A little bit about me. I've been born into racing, basically IndyCar, F1, anything with four wheels, and I currently, or have been racing dirt bikes since I was about 3 years old. I have a little clip that'll show up here on the green screen of me in the last couple of weeks. I've had career-ending injuries, basically all kinds of different things happen to myself. So we wanted to start the channel about something we absolutely loved, and that is Formula One in every single way possible. So I live here in the States, and I cannot wait until the world situation is back to normal and I find myself at another Grand Prix. But today's episode is all about Sebastian Vettel and Racing Point, or soon to be called Aston Martin F1. Now, this video is all about why Sebastian Vettel going to Racing Point is so important for F1 and for everybody as a whole. Now, Sebastian Vettel, not only is he a four-time world champion, he has 244 Grand Prix under his belt. Of those 244 GPs, he has 53 wins. He is in the top 5 for most wins of all time, ever. He has 120 podiums, 57 poles, and has led 3,497 of the 13,341 laps that he's ran in his career. So if Sebastian Vettel retired right now, it might not seem like it, but he would go down as one of the all-time best drivers in Formula One. And we understand if you might have forgotten that. Sebastian Vettel has had a rough last 3 or 4 years with Scuderia Ferrari. He slams his car into the side of Lewis Hamilton under the safety car. Last couple weeks ago in Austria, he dive bombs a McLaren car, knocks his front wing off, spins around, ruining his day. And he basically had 2 offs in that weekend that were really unfortunate for him. He's been completely subpar over the last few years, making mistake after mistake. His incident at Monza coming on in the midst of so much traffic through the S's there. I couldn't blame you if you forgot Sebastian Vettel is one of the all-time greatest F1 drivers ever. Over the last 3 or 4 years, when it's Mercedes and Ferrari, the big deal was, will Sebastian Vettel be able to bring the title fight with Lewis Hamilton? And unfortunately, that hasn't happened. And really, at least at this current stage in time, the only person that has that opportunity is Bottas. And honestly, with his luck and with Lewis just being on form as always, looks like we don't have anything going for us until 2022. But Racing Point, that has been coming alive. Now, let's put out all of the protests coming from Renault, and let's pretend that they're completely legal, and minus the British GP last weekend where they really didn't perform as expected. They've been on fire. They've been running really well, and whether that is a makeshift Mercedes from 2019, it's really important going in to the takeover by Aston Martin. And the reason is if a cost cap comes, whether it's 150 million, 200 million, 100 million, regardless of what that number is, Aston Martin will be able to meet that number or get pretty darn close, which will help the team perform. And at that point, you need a top caliber driver with no pressure on him. Sebastian Vettel, since he moved from Toro Rosso up to Red Bull, from Red Bull to Ferrari, he has had it all on his shoulders. Winning 4 world titles in a row, and then moving on to Scuderia Ferrari, where when you get in a Ferrari seat, you are expected not only to win, but to win world titles. This hasn't happened for him. Has it been a failure? No. He's won a lot of races. He's led a lot of laps. He's had a lot of poles. He wouldn't have done that same thing at Red Bull. Unfortunately for him, F1 chews you up and spits you out in the worst ways possible. And this typically only happens to drivers in the back half of the field. It hasn't happened to a 4-time world champion, one of the all-time greats with nowhere to go. He doesn't have a seat at Mercedes. Red Bull doesn't want him. Everything is full. Nobody is taking him. Only Racing Point has the opportunity. It just is a really interesting time when drivers like Hulkenberg are shoved out the door. And then you're talking about just Sebastian Vettel with nowhere to go. It's crazy. But the most important part of all of this is that F1 needs Sebastian Vettel. They need that storyline to help drive all the eyes that they can possibly get onto the series. It's watching Lewis Hamilton win every week doesn't deter me, because as an F1 fan, I can see the importance of the battle that Lando has for 5th or 6th, or Racing Point where they're at, and what importance 10th place has on the entire scope of an F1 season. But it's really important that everything comes together. Now, this might not happen, but recently we've had Sebastian Vettel elbow bumping Racing Point boss, or Lance Stroll's dad, and it's insane. It's going to happen. I really think it is. And what's unfortunate about all of it is Sergio Perez, Checo, is going to lose his ride. And this is why I think that's going to happen. You don't spend your entire career paving the way for your son, buying an F1 team so Lance has a seat, to shove him out the door. The only way that possibly happens is if Aston Martin has a controlling interest and refuses to have Lance Stroll on the team. And even then, I think it's more likely that Sebastian Vettel wouldn't even get a contract offer than Stroll leaving the team. What that basically means is, unfortunately, a driver as high of their caliber as Perez, much like Hülkenberg, who would have thought his seat was secure with a 3-year deal, is going to find himself on the outside looking in, unfortunately. And that's just kind of what happens in F1. Great drivers who just, whether they don't have the sponsorship, the financial means, the luck, or the results, it's just kind of how it goes. And especially for a driver like Sergio, if you ended up in Aston Martin Racing and they had the budget to compete with Mercedes and Red Bull and Ferrari, it could make for such an exciting turn in his career. And unfortunately, I think he's going to be on the outside looking in of Sebastian Vettel in his seat. So I think that's what's going to happen. I think over the next several weeks, we're going to see Sebastian Vettel promoted to the #1 driver for Aston Martin Racing come 2021. Now, on this channel, we're going to have a lot more than just my opinions and little videos here and there. We're going to have small blast from the past mini-series videos talking about random races from just basically any year. So we're actually going to have a globe. We'll spin that globe, land on a continent, pick a year, pick a GP, and we'll have a short series about that specific race. We have several more stuff coming up to the channel, podcasts, race recaps, and much more. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you in After the Flag F1 in the next one.